yard average on returns to run it back.
The kind of game where the stadium is a battleground. But some fields, well, they're not just home turf. They're a home field advantage so powerful it can rattle even the best players. We're talking about the stadiums where visiting teams walk in and immediately feel the pressure. The noise, the atmosphere, the sheer force of the crowd. It's enough to make anyone rethink their career choice. So, what makes these stadiums so intimidating? Why do some home teams have the power to turn their field into a fortress? Today, we're counting down the top 5 most intimidating stadiums to play in. The ones that don't just win games, they break spirits. Ready to feel the pressure? Let's dive in. Welcome to Highmark Stadium in Buffalo, where the weather is just as hostile as the fans. This stadium is brutally cold and windy. Playing in this stadium during late season is like a test of grit and endurance. The wind here doesn't just blow, it howls, making every snap, every pass a challenge. And let's not even talk about the snow. One minute the field's clear, and the next, a blizzard's dropped 5 inches of snow just like that. Imagine trying to make a 50-yard field goal in this mess. It's not just the Bills you're trying to beat, it's the full Buffalo experience. But don't expect sympathy from the home crowd. The Bills Mafia thrives in these conditions. They live for this weather. They embrace it. When they say winter is coming, they're not talking about Game of Thrones. They're talking about playing in Highmark Stadium. If you think it's cold inside the stadium, you haven't seen anything yet. Outside, it's a full-blown celebration. You'll see the fans with grills, drinks, and blasting music in their blue, red, and white jerseys. They're so committed, they'll brave any conditions just to support their team. And when the players finally step onto that field, the Bills Mafia greets them with deafening chants and cheers so loud that you'd swear you were inside a hurricane. If you thought you knew what loud was, think again. The Superdome is an absolute fortress of sound. With its enclosed structure, every cheer, every chant bounces off the walls and amplifies. This noise creates a wall of noise that can disorient even experienced players. The stadium doesn't just echo, it booms, and with every passing minute, the volume only climbs higher. The Saints fans, with their crazy energy, are the true architects of this home field chaos. Ordinarily, New Orleans has always been a city that loves to party, and the Superdome is the ultimate venue for it. The sound in this is deafening. Here's the thing, it's not just the volume that makes it intimidating, it's the atmosphere. You can feel the celebration in the air. For the visiting team, it's like being trapped inside a creature that loves noise. And then there's the chant. You've heard it, right? The Who Dat chant. This ain't just a cheer, it's a battle cry. A declaration that this place, this field, belongs to the Saints, and we, the diehard fans. The sound, energy, and a fan base that feels more like a party than a football game is enough to make any visiting team make mistakes. The Saints don't just have a home advantage, they have the kind of atmosphere that forces you to sink or swim. If you can't handle the pressure, then you're in for a long night. And if you're fortunate enough to survive, well, you'll leave with your ears ringing, "Who dat?" Now let's go to the NFL's most legendary cold weather stadium, Lambeau Field, home of the Green Bay Packers. Like Highmark Stadium, the playing conditions here are also brutal. Playing here means that you're not just battling the Green Bay Packers, you're also fighting the elements themselves. And for teams unaccustomed to the frigid cold, it's a full-on endurance test. Although the snow is wicked, Packers fans are the ones who make it intimidating to come to Lambeau. Don't let the freezing temperatures fool you. These Packers fans are on fire. These people are just too loyal for a football team. They would stand in the cold for every game. They would even paint their faces and shout in that freaking cold. And their knowledge of the game? Impeccable. They know every play, every stat, and every second of the game like the back of their cheese-covered hands. And speaking of cheese, have you ever heard of cheeseheads? These people are the loyal fans wearing wedge-shaped cheese hats. You'll have seen them in the stadium before. These fans don't just show up to the game, they create an atmosphere that's as much about tradition and pride as it is about winning. The crowd's energy is electric, their cheers reverberating in the chilly air like a war cry. Next, we head to the Pacific Northwest, where the atmosphere is as wild as the weather itself. Lumen Field, home of the Seattle Seahawks. This stadium is just like a sound system powered entirely by 68,000 screaming fans, better known as the 12th Man. Playing here is like stepping into a real-life surround sound demo, only this one's set to earthquake mode. Let's talk about that noise. Thanks to its ingenious design, Lumen Field doesn't just contain sound, it weaponizes it. The stadium's architecture acts like a megaphone, bouncing every cheer, chant, and "Go Hawks" straight onto the field and directly into the brains of opposing teams. Forget hearing play calls. Visiting quarterbacks are out here playing charades. Was that an audible for a pass play or a request for nachos? Who knows? And we have to give it up for the 12s, the most passionate and arguably loudest fan base in the league. These people are more committed than your gym buddy on New Year's Day. Rain, snow, or that weird Seattle mist that's neither, they're out there in force, screaming their lungs out. Remember, these are the folks who once caused an actual earthquake with their celebration, the famous Beastquake after Marshawn Lynch's iconic run in 2011. Mother Nature herself had to Google earplugs. At Lumen Field, every game feels like a rock concert where the main act is destruction. And the stats don't lie. All this sound isn't just for show though, it's a real advantage. False starts? Plenty. Miscommunications? Countless. Opposing teams leave Seattle not just beaten, but questioning their life choices. Meanwhile, the 12s leave with hoarse voices and another story to tell about how they rattled yet another opponent. So if you're brave enough to face the Seahawks at Lumen Field, pack your earplugs and prepare for a seismic experience. Literally. This isn't just football, it's a sound check for the apocalypse. Before we get to the #1 most intimidating stadium, don't forget to hit that like button and drop a comment below with your thoughts. And of course, subscribe so you never miss out on more electrifying content like this. Alright, now let's see which stadium claims the top spot. And now we've arrived at the granddaddy of them all, Arrowhead Stadium, home of the Kansas City Chiefs. This is where legends are made, and opposing teams are broken. Stepping onto this field as an opponent is like stepping into the belly of a screaming beast. It's loud, it's relentless, and frankly, it's terrifying. They don't call it the Sea of Red for nothing. Imagine something like 76,000 fans, all clad in Chiefs red, roaring in unison like they've just won free barbecue for life. It's enough to make even the toughest players question their career choices. Let's talk numbers, because Arrowhead doesn't just feel loud, it is loud. In fact, it's scientifically Guinness World Record level loud, 142.2 decibels to be exact. For context, that's louder than a jet engine at takeoff, louder than your alarm clock when you're already late, and definitely louder than your uncle's stories about his high school football days. That kind of noise doesn't just rattle helmets, it rattles souls. And the crowd? Oh, they're not just fans, they're an army. Chiefs Nation shows up like it's Game 7 of the apocalypse, ready to scream their team to victory. The moment the Chiefs run onto the field, the decibel meter spikes faster than Cristiano Ronaldo's YouTube subscribers. And these fans, they don't need gimmicks or free giveaways to bring the energy. Nope, all they need is a touchdown, a cold beer, and maybe a little Patrick Mahomes magic to hit eardrum-shattering levels. But don't let the tailgates full of smoked meats and friendly Midwest charm fool you. This is a tough crowd. Arrowhead is where dreams go to die, or at least get drowned out by false starts and broken headsets. Opposing quarterbacks might as well carry a white flag into the huddle, because calling an audible here is like trying to order drive-thru during a tornado. You'd think with all the noise, the Chiefs fans would lose their voices eventually. Spoiler alert, they don't. Oh, and that sea of red? It's not just for show. The sheer visual intimidation of Kansas fans waving flags, clapping thundersticks, and screaming Chiefs is enough to make any team feel like they're storming the gates of Mordor. Add in the freezing Midwest weather for late season games, and you got yourself a home field advantage that's as close to unbeatable as it gets. So if you're an opposing team gearing up to face the Chiefs at Arrowhead, here's some advice. Pack earplugs, practice sign language, and maybe bring a lucky rabbit's foot, because you're going to need all the help you can get. Welcome to Arrowhead Stadium, the loudest, proudest, and most intimidating home turf in the NFL. And there you have it, the top 5 most intimidating stadiums in the NFL. You see why these stadiums are intimidating. They're more than just places to play, they're fortresses of football power. But hey, every stadium has its day, and one team's nightmare could be another team's triumph. Who knows, maybe next season we'll see a new contender on this list. But for now, we can't deny that these 5 stadiums are as fierce as they come. Make sure to hit that like button, share this video with your fellow football lovers, and subscribe.